Have you ever been told that you need to humble yourself or that you're doing too much? Have you ever even looked up the definition of the word humble? Have you ever wondered why you keep getting ghosted, you keep getting played, you keep getting bullied by women around you, and your life is just not where you want it to be? This is all the result of toxic femininity. Toxic femininity tells you that you as a woman need to be humble. But let's look up the definition of the word humble. Humble, having or showing a modest or low estimate of one's own importance, of low social, administrative, or political rank, lower someone in dignity or importance. So you're telling me that I'm supposed to have a low estimate of my importance? I'm supposed to think that I'm an unimportant person? But I'm only ever going to spend the rest of my life living as myself, so why would I think that I am unimportant? That doesn't even make logical sense. Toxic femininity is the expectation that women should always be passive, submissive, and listening to men's authority. Toxic femininity encourages women to suppress their emotions or conform to narrow emotional expressions, such as always being cheerful or nurturing. And that can lead to you always putting on this fake persona, pretending to be happy when in reality you're not. I've noticed that toxic femininity promotes a lack of emotional range and expression to where women are not allowed to express emotions like anger. We're not allowed to express any sort of insecurity whatsoever. We're basically not allowed to be vulnerable. We're only supposed to be happy all of the time, and then we're supposed to be sexual on demand, and that's pretty much it. Toxic femininity promotes an inferiority complex. Women are socialized to feel inferior to men, which undermines our self-confidence and it hinders our pursuit of our own goals. Toxic femininity also supports dependency, meaning that we should be financially or emotionally dependent on men for money and for self-sufficiency. Toxic femininity supports silencing our voices or dismissing our perspectives and our concerns, and it just perpetuates a culture where our opinions as women are devalued and our experiences are minimized. I've noticed that this whole femininity movement, aka toxic femininity, it also supports being passive in relationships, which means taking a passive role, waiting for the man to always define the terms of the relationship, as opposed to just dumping the guy and moving on. But I feel like some women, they don't dump guys and move on because they don't want to be called a hoe. They don't want to be seen as a woman who jumps from guy to guy. Another thing that I've noticed about this toxic femininity space is that all women are expected to desire being wives or being mothers, and their worth is primarily defined by their role as mothers. And that can be very limiting if you have goals outside of just being a wife or a mother. The way that toxic femininity hurts mixed race women of color in particular is when people try to promote whiteness or white women as some sort of standard of femininity or a standard of relationships, when in reality, history shows that a lot of white women have been getting abused since long before people of color even had the rights to marry. White women were engaging in pick-me culture since before people of color even knew what dating was. So this whole narrative that somehow we should follow along with whatever white women do, it's inherently racist. It doesn't make sense. And it also promotes this idea that women should somehow be a monolith. There are many different ways to be a woman. And you don't have to follow these feminine YouTube channels or these femininity coaches that don't resonate with you. You can be feminine and still be strong. You can be feminine and still be independent. You can be feminine and still have career goals. But I've noticed that when a lot of women talk about this whole concept of the soft life, the only way you can really have the soft life is if you get some man to come and sweep you off your feet and pay all of your bills. But what happens before that man comes? Are you supposed to just be waiting around for him to come? Are you supposed to just not be living a fulfilled life? Like, nobody talks about what happens to the soft life women when they're single. So what was that woman doing before that guy came around? Because yes, I know, I get it. You're waiting for your Prince Charming husband to come sweep you off your feet and pay all of your bills and protect and provide. But what do you do before that guy comes into your life? That's what I focus on this YouTube channel. I focus on what to do when there is no Prince Charming in your life, or when you have chosen to decenter men, meaning that you're not constantly chasing around this Prince Charming. You're not chasing all the Prince Charmings in town, hoping for one of them to come and pick you up and sweep you off your feet. What do you do when you are single, or maybe you don't have the time to date, or maybe you just went through a breakup and you kind of need a break? What do you do then? I've noticed that a lot of femininity spaces, they don't touch on that talking point because your whole existence is kind of revolving around either catching a man, chasing a man, trying to get a man's attention, revolving your life around a man, only going and hanging out in spaces where all the rich men are. Never mind your own hobbies and what you actually want to spend your time doing. No, you should be going into the local coffee shop, sitting down in a hotel, drinking tea, hoping that some old rich guy will come sweep you up off of your feet. So that's what you should be doing 8 hours a day if you want to live the soft life. Seriously? I mean, no shade if that's what you want to do, but I feel like there are so many different ways to be a woman, and there are so many other things that women can be focusing on while they are in their single season or if they are choosing to be single. What happened to investing in yourself? What happened to traveling the world? What happened to going on girls' trips? What happened to making friends with other women? What happened to pursuing your own passions and dreams as opposed to revolving your entire existence around a man noticing you? Because when you revolve your whole entire self-esteem, or when you revolve your life around hopefully, getting a man, and like that's the only way you can truly live a soft life is if there's a man protecting and providing for you, well then that is kind of sending a message to yourself that if you don't have a man, you can't live a soft life. And if you don't have a man's gaze, or if you don't have a man's attention, your life is automatically harder. And we all know that articles have shown that women's lifespans literally decrease when they get married. Women's responsibilities actually go up when they have a husband or children to care for. It's not like they're just sitting around sipping mimosas all day by the pool. No, oftentimes women who have children or a spouse, they are not rich. There are more people who are poor to average income versus people who are rich. So I'm not saying that you can't attract a multimillionaire or a billionaire. I'm just saying that the chances of attracting that are slimmer. You are more likely to attract a man who has either an average income or maybe an upper middle class income. But even if you have an upper middle class income, that still doesn't mean that you are automatically just sitting around by the pool all day sipping mimosas. What does the soft life mean to you? Everyone should have their own independent, individual definition of what the soft life means to them. So for some people, it is having kids and having a husband. But for other women, it may be pursuing your dreams. Maybe you want to run marathons or travel the world or go back to college and get a degree. Maybe you want to write a book, and that is the soft life for you because you genuinely enjoy writing. Maybe you enjoy creating content. Maybe you love doing makeup and it does make you feel soft when you put on a nice eyeshadow, or maybe you love fashion and designing clothing and that is what makes you feel soft. I think we need to rethink the definition of the soft life and not make it revolve around men. What do you ladies think? Let me know in the comments section and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.